James Patterson was 67 years old, retired high school teacher, marathon runner, healthy diet, blood pressure pills every morning like clockwork. He did everything right, and on a Tuesday night in March, he went to bed feeling fine. His wife found him the next morning, gone. The autopsy said heart failure. But here's what nobody told his family. 3 weeks earlier, James mentioned something to his wife at breakfast. Something small, something that seemed harmless, a sign his body was screaming at him. A sign that, if recognized, could have saved his life. And you might be ignoring the exact same sign right now. I'm Dr. Michael Chen. I've been a cardiothoracic surgeon for 28 years. I've opened over 2,100 chests in my career. I've held beating hearts in my hands. And I can tell you this with absolute certainty. The cases that haunt me aren't the ones who came in too late. They're the ones who came in with warning signs nobody taught them to recognize. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the difference between waking up tomorrow morning and not waking up at all. Your heart doesn't fail suddenly. Not really. It sends signals, whispers at first, then louder, then desperate. The problem? The medical system teaches doctors to wait for numbers, blood pressure readings, EKG patterns, lab results. But your body starts talking long before those numbers change. And in those weeks, those months, lies a window, a chance, an opportunity that most people miss because nobody ever told them what to look for. After 60, your heart operates on borrowed time in ways most people don't understand. The muscle cells you were born with, they don't regenerate. Every single heartbeat for 60, 70, 80 years has been the same cells contracting, over and over, billions of times. By the time you hit 60, those cells are tired. They're scarred from decades of high blood pressure, even if your pressure is controlled now. They're stiff from years of inflammation, even if you take an aspirin daily. The electrical system ages too. The specialized cells that generate your heartbeat, the ones that tell your heart when to contract, they die off. You lose about 75% of them between age 20 and age 80. That's why irregular heartbeats become so common. That's why the warning signs change. Think of it like a car engine with 200,000 miles. It still runs, but it needs a different kind of attention, different listening. The knocking sound that would have been nothing at 50,000 miles is everything at 200,000. Your body is the same way. A little swelling that would have been benign at 40 is potentially fatal at 67 because your reserve is gone. Your backup systems are exhausted. Your body has been compensating for so long that when it finally can't compensate anymore, the decline is rapid, catastrophic. One study from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology tracked 3,000 seniors with early heart failure signs. The ones who recognized symptoms within the first month had a 90% 5-year survival rate. The ones who waited 6 months, less than 40%. That's not a typo. Recognizing these signs early doesn't just add quality to your life. It determines whether you have a life at all. Here's what nobody tells you. There are 5 signs your heart is failing that have nothing to do with chest pain. 5 signals that James Patterson showed. 5 things that, if you recognize them starting tonight, could add years to your life. And I'm going to walk you through each one. Not as a list of symptoms to Google, but as a surgeon who stood in operating rooms at 3 a.m., looked at families in waiting rooms, and thought, if someone had just told them what to watch for. Write that down. If someone had just told them. Sign number 1, your shoes stop fitting by afternoon. James Patterson mentioned it to his wife over breakfast 3 weeks before he died. These shoes are tight, he said. Maybe I need to get them stretched. His wife nodded. They didn't think about it again. Here's what was actually happening. When your heart starts to fail, it can't pump blood efficiently enough to keep fluid from pooling in your lower body. Gravity pulls that fluid down. Your ankles, your feet, your calves. By afternoon, by evening, the swelling is obvious. You press your thumb into your ankle and the dent stays there. Medical term, pitting edema. Real term, your heart is drowning you from the inside. But here's what makes this especially dangerous after 60. Your skin loses elasticity. Your connective tissue gets stiffer. So that swelling you see on the outside, it's happening on the inside too. Your organs are swelling. Your liver, your intestines. Everything is getting squeezed by fluid that has nowhere to go. Why does this happen after 60 specifically? Because aging kidneys can't compensate the way young kidneys can. When you're 35 and your heart output drops 10%, your kidneys just work a little harder to balance fluid. They increase filtration. They adjust hormones. They keep you stable. When you're 67 and your kidneys are already operating at 70% capacity, they can't. There's no reserve left. The fluid backs up into your tissues, into your lungs, into the space between your cells. And once it starts, it doesn't just stay stable. It progresses. Each day your heart pumps a little less efficiently. Each day, a little more fluid accumulates. Each day the pressure builds. I've seen patients come in with 20, 30, even 40 pounds of fluid weight. They thought they were gaining weight. eating too much, getting older. But it wasn't fat. It was their heart failing so slowly they didn't notice until their shoes didn't fit, until their wedding ring wouldn't come off, until they couldn't see the bones in their ankles anymore. The fix isn't to buy bigger shoes. The fix isn't to cut back on salt and hope it goes away. The fix is to recognize what your body is telling you and get to a doctor. Immediately. Not next month at your annual checkup. Immediately. Because fluid retention from heart failure doesn't get better on its own. It cascades. Each day, a little more fluid, a little more pressure, a little closer to crisis. Have you noticed swelling that seems to come and go with no clear reason? Have you pressed your thumb into your ankle and watched the dent stay there for minutes? Put that in the comments below, because this isn't just information. This is your life we're talking about. And I need you to understand, by the time you're seeing obvious swelling, your heart has already been failing for weeks. This is not an early sign. This is a sign that says your window is closing. Sign number 2, you suddenly can't lie flat without coughing. This one shows up at night. You're lying down to sleep. Within 20 minutes, you start coughing. Not a little tickle, a real cough. Deep, persistent, rattling. You sit up. The cough stops within a minute or two. You lie back down. It returns, so you add another pillow, then another. Eventually, you're sleeping semi-upright in bed, or you've moved to the recliner entirely. And you tell yourself it's just post-nasal drip, allergies, getting older, acid reflux. Maybe you start taking antacids. Maybe you buy a humidifier. You try everything except what you actually need, a cardiac workup. It's not any of those things. It's fluid in your lungs. Here's the mechanism. When you lie flat, fluid that's been sitting in your lower lungs because of gravity redistributes. It covers more surface area. Your oxygen exchange drops. Your body senses it. Your lungs try to cough it out. But this isn't mucus you can clear. This is plasma, the liquid part of your blood. It's leaked out of your capillaries because the pressure in your lungs has gotten so high that your blood vessels can't hold it in anymore. Medical term, pulmonary edema. Real term, you're slowly drowning in your own blood. But here's the critical part. By the time you're coughing when you lie flat, your heart has been failing for weeks, maybe months. This is not an early sign. This is a late sign. Your heart's pumping efficiency has dropped so low that blood is backing up all the way into your lungs. Your ejection fraction, the percentage of blood your heart pumps out with each beat, is probably somewhere in the 30s or lower. Normal is 55 to 70%. You're operating at half capacity, and you don't even know it. James Patterson moved to the recliner 2 weeks before he died. His wife asked if he wanted to see a doctor. He said he'd mention it at his next appointment. 3 weeks away. He didn't make it. Because here's what happens once pulmonary edema starts. It progresses. Each night, a little more fluid. Each night, a little less oxygen. Each night, your heart works harder to compensate for the fluid it created. It's a vicious cycle, a downward spiral. And the only way to break it is intervention. Medication, sometimes hospitalization. After 60, your lung capacity is already reduced. The air sacs in your lungs, the alveoli, they stiffen with age. You've lost elasticity. You have less surface area for oxygen exchange. So when fluid starts building, you feel it faster. Your oxygen levels drop more dramatically. You're not imagining things. You're not being dramatic. Your body is screaming at you in the only language it knows. Here's what you do starting tonight. If you can't lie flat without coughing, do not wait. Call your doctor in the morning. Tell them exactly that. I can't lie flat without coughing. Those words will get you an appointment. Fast. Because every doctor who's been practicing for more than 5 years has lost a patient who said those exact words and waited. Don't wait. Don't tell yourself it's nothing. Don't minimize what your body is telling you. This is everything. Now stay with me, because the next 3 signs are even more subtle, even more commonly dismissed. And one of them is something that happens so gradually, so quietly, that most people don't even realize it's happening until it's already too late. The first 2 signs I gave you, the swelling and the cough, those are physical, obvious, measurable. But the next 3, these are the ones that get written off as normal aging. These are the ones that families miss completely because they don't look like heart problems. They look like life, like getting older, like slowing down. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. Because by the time you realize what you're seeing isn't normal aging, the damage is already done. The window has already closed. So I need you to pay especially close attention to what comes next. Because if you or someone you love is showing these signs, you need to act this week, not next month, this week. Sign number 3. You start feeling full after just a few bites of food. This one sounds innocent. You sit down to dinner. You take 3 or 4 bites, and suddenly you're full. Not satisfied. Full. Uncomfortably full. Like you just ate Thanksgiving dinner, but you barely touched your plate. Your family notices. They ask if you're feeling okay. You say you're just not hungry. You tell yourself your appetite is changing with age. You're not as active. You don't need as much food. But here's what's really happening. When your heart fails, blood backs up into your liver. Your liver swells. When your liver swells, it presses on your stomach. Your stomach can't expand. A few bites of food and you feel stuffed. Medical term, hepatic congestion. Real term, your organs are being squeezed by blood that has nowhere to go. This is not normal aging. This is organ failure in slow motion. After 60, this sign is particularly dangerous because doctors assume you're just eating less because you're older. They assume it's depression. They assume it's medication side effects. They don't order the ultrasound that would show your liver is twice its normal size. They don't check the blood tests that would show liver enzymes creeping up. James Patterson lost 9 pounds in 3 weeks. His wife thought he looked good, healthier. Nobody connected the dots. If you've lost your appetite and you don't know why, write that down. Tell your doctor. Insist on imaging. Because early satiety from heart failure is fixable if caught early, and fatal if ignored. Sign number 4, you're suddenly exhausted by tasks that used to be easy. This isn't normal tiredness. This is walking to the mailbox and needing to sit down. This is folding laundry and feeling like you ran a mile. This is the kind of exhaustion where you wake up tired even after 10 hours of sleep. Here's what's happening. Your heart can't deliver enough oxygen to your muscles. Your muscles switch to anaerobic metabolism. They start producing lactic acid even during light activity. You feel it as crushing fatigue, as heaviness, as a fog that never lifts. After 60, this is the most commonly ignored sign because everyone expects to slow down. Everyone says it's just aging. But here's the difference. Normal aging is gradual. You might notice over years that stairs are harder. Heart failure fatigue is sudden. It's a cliff, not a slope. James Patterson stopped his morning walks in February. By March, he was napping twice a day. By late March, he was dead. The progression is fast. Once it starts, it accelerates. Your body has been compensating. Your kidneys have been working overtime. Your nervous system has been releasing adrenaline to prop up your blood pressure. And then, all at once, the compensation fails. The cliff. If you've gone from active to exhausted in a matter of weeks, that is not normal. That is urgent. That question has stayed with me. How many people are walking around right now, telling themselves they're just tired, when their heart is actively failing? Sign number 5, your thinking gets foggy and you can't explain why. This is the sign nobody talks about. The sign that gets blamed on everything else first. You forget words mid-sentence. The word is right there, on the tip of your tongue, and it won't come. You lose your train of thought halfway through explaining something. You walk into a room and can't remember why you went there. You read a paragraph and realize you didn't absorb a single word. You feel disconnected, slow, like you're thinking through water. Like there's a lag between your thoughts and your words. Everyone around you says it's just getting older. You start to believe it. You start making jokes about senior moments. You start writing more things down because you don't trust your memory anymore. But here's what's actually happening inside your skull. Your brain uses 20% of your body's oxygen, despite being only 2% of your body weight. It's the most oxygen-hungry organ you have. When your heart can't pump effectively, your brain is the first place you notice the deficit. Reduced oxygen delivery. Reduced glucose delivery. The neurons that fire your thoughts, they start functioning at lower efficiency. They're not dying, not yet, but they're struggling. Every thought takes longer to form. Every memory takes longer to retrieve. Every decision takes more effort. You're not losing your mind. Your heart is failing to feed your mind. After 60, this is catastrophic because it gets written off as early dementia, as normal cognitive decline, as Alzheimer's. Families start having conversations about memory care, about taking away car keys, about whether it's safe for mom to live alone anymore. And nobody checks the heart. Nobody runs the echocardiogram that would show an ejection fraction in the 30s. Nobody checks the BNP blood test that would be sky high. Nobody connects the dots between the brain fog and the swollen ankles and the breathlessness and the fatigue. Each symptom gets treated as a separate problem instead of pieces of the same picture. James Patterson's wife mentioned to her daughter that he'd been forgetful. The daughter suggested they talk to his doctor about Alzheimer's screening. They were planning to schedule it. 3 days later, he was gone. The brain fog wasn't dementia. It was his heart failing to keep his brain alive. If you've noticed your thinking isn't sharp and it came on relatively quickly, not over years, but over weeks or months, demand cardiac testing. Echocardiogram, BNP blood test, ECG, stress test if you're able. Don't accept it's just aging as an answer. Don't let your doctor tell you to wait and see, because your brain fog might be your heart's final warning before it gives up entirely. What have you noticed in yourself or a loved one that you've been dismissing as just getting older? Tell me in the comments, because these conversations save lives, every single one of them. Here's what I need you to understand. I've stood in operating rooms at 3 a.m. with the heart in my hands, looking at damage that could have been prevented. I've walked into waiting rooms and told families that their father, their husband, their brother is gone. And the question I hear every single time is the same. Were there signs? Could we have known? Yes, there were signs. And yes, you could have known. But nobody taught you to look for them. The system doesn't work that way. The system waits for crisis, for the 911 call, for the chest pain that brings you to the ER. It doesn't teach prevention. It doesn't reward doctors for the 20-minute conversation about swollen ankles and early satiety. It rewards them for procedures, for prescriptions, for billing codes. And in that gap, people die. People like James Patterson. People who did everything they were told, took their pills, watched their diet, went to their checkups, and still missed the signs their body was sending. But there's another story I want to tell you. Margaret Reynolds, 71 years old. She came to my office 8 months ago because her daughter-in-law is a nurse and noticed Margaret's ankles were swollen at Sunday dinner. Margaret hadn't thought anything of it, but her daughter-in-law insisted, pushed her to call. We did an echo. Ejection fraction 32%. Heart failure. Early, but definite. We started treatment. Diuretic, ACE inhibitor, beta blocker. Adjusted her diet. Within 6 weeks, Margaret was back to normal. Within 3 months, she'd reduced from 4 medications to 2. Her ejection fraction improved to 45%. Still not perfect, but functional. Stable. Margaret sent me a card last month. She wrote, "You gave me my life back. I didn't even know I was losing it. Why didn't anyone tell me to watch for these things?" That's the question. Why doesn't anyone tell you? So here's what you do right now, tonight. 5 things. Number 1, check your ankles. Press your thumb in. If it leaves a dent that stays, call your doctor tomorrow. Number 2, try lying completely flat on your back. If you start coughing within 10 minutes, call your doctor tomorrow. Number 3, pay attention to how much you're eating. If you're getting full on a few bites and you don't know why, call your doctor tomorrow. Number 4, track your energy. If you've gone from active to exhausted in a matter of weeks, call your doctor tomorrow. Number 5, ask someone close to you if they've noticed your thinking seems different. If they say yes, call your doctor tomorrow. Notice I said tomorrow, not next month, not at your next scheduled visit. Tomorrow. Because heart failure caught early is manageable. Heart failure caught late is fatal. It is never too late to pay attention to what your body is telling you. Your heart has been working for you every single minute of every single day for 60, 70, 80 years without ever asking for anything in return. Give it this. Give it your attention. Give it the urgency it deserves. If this information made you think about someone you know, share this video with them. Right now, don't wait. Don't assume they already know, because they probably don't. The medical system hasn't told them. And if you found this valuable, subscribe to this channel. Because every week, I'm bringing you the information you should be getting from your doctor, but you're not. The things the system doesn't have time to explain. The patterns I've seen in 28 years of surgery that nobody writes down in textbooks. This is the conversation your doctor wishes they had time to have with you. I'm having it instead. One more thing before you go. I need to say this clearly. I'm a surgeon. I've spent my career in operating rooms, but I'm not your surgeon. This video is education, not medical advice. Every person is different. Every situation is unique. The signs I've described today are real. They're important. But they're also non-specific. They could be heart failure. They could be other things. That's why you need to see your doctor. Get tested. Get diagnosed. Don't diagnose yourself from a YouTube video. Use this information to know when to act, when to push, when to demand answers. But always work with a physician who knows your full medical history. Because your health is not a guessing game. It's too important for that. And you're too important for that.